Hey guys, so today I want to quickly walk you through my Notion setup for 2020. This setup is not complete yet as we're still in December, but it's complete enough for me to show you around and so you can gather some inspiration and some ideas for your own setup. If you're a little bit unsure about how I plan and what my new organization system is, I have a video all about that which I will link down below as well as in the upper right corner of the screen. Because I do not use Notion as my main organization app, and Notion is actually part of a segmented system composed by 3 different apps. One is a calendar app, the other is a to-do list app that allows me to create different lists according to different topics, and finally I have Notion. So Notion is mainly focused on long-term projects and long-term goals, and this is what I'm going to show you now. So my first page in Notion is notes and drafts, and as you can see it's basically empty because I want to start filling it up in 2020. I basically have a main brainstorming page and then a quick to-do list, and these are the things that I use the most in Notion when I want to quickly jot down notes without any type of specific topic or any structure where I need to insert that particular note. Secondly, I have a main page called projects. And in this main page, I have other subpages, each one corresponding to a different project. I will not be able to show some of these to you because they're still quite confidential, like my ebook project, which you will find about soon enough. But for instance, in my UK and Ireland trip projects, which is still not filled up, so there isn't any personal details or dates or any of that stuff, but you can see the main structure. I basically have a full schedule where I will be stating what is the date of each specific part of the trip, as well as any links, the location, and the status of organizing that particular part of the trip. Of course, that each one of these will correspond to their specific page, so any details about my departing flight, hotels, and this also means contacts, addresses, as well as prices, and any kind of files that correspond to reservations, it will all go to that specific page. I will also have a map which I can access directly from Google Maps, and I can also see the schedule by day. So I want to do an 8-day trip, which means that I will be able to schedule the trip like hour by hour if needed, if I want to. My language learning page is quite simple and it basically divides the page by 3, and these are my goals for 2020 that I just remembered and I jotted it down. I have goals for Latin, for Japanese, and for German, and of course that as soon as I finish these goals I will add more goals until the end of the year. But these are the basic things I want to do related to language learning, at least in the beginning of the year. Then I have a main goals page, and this main goals page has a bucket list, sustainable purchases, and resolutions. I like to divide my bucket list by quarters because I think that this way it's much more achievable and you're also able to stop that hectic time of the year when you start to finish all of your bucket list by the end of the year. So my 2020 bucket list is divided by quarters, and of course that this is not finished at all. I will add more items as I remember them and into a specific time where I think I will be able to do them. So for instance, I don't have any ambitious goals in my bucket list for the first quarter because I'll basically be focusing on organizing my wedding, and that will take a lot of time. So I will start doing the more ambitious projects like starting sewing classes, writing my ebook, traveling, all of that after the wedding. I also have a list of sustainable purchases as I've showed you before. This is the same list that I think I showed you in my last video about organization. And then I also have my resolutions list, which is still empty. I like to fill in my resolutions right in the beginning of the year, and so I decided to keep this page empty for now so I can make a bigger reflection on what I really want to achieve by the end of the year, basically and more specifically in terms of habits and basically in terms of health and things like that. I also have my wedding planner, and I will not be showing you this with detail today because I'm preparing a full video and try to explain how I'm organizing my wedding by myself, but I can show you that I have my main to-dos page, and I have everything categorized by pages, and each one of these pages has tables, contacts, galleries, everything related to each specific category, so all the information is gathered in one place and I will never lose any piece of information if I need it in a meeting with a vendor or when talking to family members or loved ones. Then I have my books and reading page, and this is basically divided into my yearly reading list, which you also know by now, and then a page for reviews. And my reviews page is basically inspired by one of Notion's main templates, so I will start filling it in with the name of the book, the status of the reading progress, and this is also neatly set up with the score, which I can attribute stars to, the author, as well as a summary. I removed a lot of the info that I could input because it was not important to me, and in Notion you can really easily switch tables around and edit tables as you go, so I thought it would be best for me to remove that information altogether. And then what I think is very useful for you to have in any Notion setup is an archive. I think that an archive is important because Notion is supposed to be simple and yet complex, which means that in your main view you should be able to see things that are really useful to you in your life right now, and anything that is not useful or is not applicable you can just keep in your archive without having to delete it because you may think that information will be useful further on. So I have an archive for 2019 and one for 2020. Of course, that's the 2021. We'll have only the 2020 preparation that I've planned previously. And then the 2019 archive will have, in this case, my 2019 Christmas planning with all the parties and the presents and everything. By the way, this is very important. This is a new workspace. I had another workspace before, and I'm now using this workspace with a personal plan because I had a lot of issues with different pages in my last workspace because it was shared, and I decided to start a new one for 2020 because I really like that feeling of starting from scratch. And since Notion really doesn't limit the number of workspaces you can have with a single email address, I decided why not. And I think this is all for my very simple Notion setup for 2020. Of course that I will be adding more pages, and as I do so you'll see them in future videos, but I think it's very important to keep it simple and to not try to overwhelm your Notion setup with an irrelevant planning, especially if you're already using a calendar like I am, or if you're using another app with your to-do list and your reminders. There are many ways to prepare for the new year, and you can get your hands on titles like 1 Year to an Organized Life, which we will be talking about in the first year of January, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, or The Power of Habits. And you can listen to all of these titles with Audible, who is sponsoring today's video and has an unbeatable selection of audiobooks, including bestsellers, motivation books, mysteries, thrillers, and more. Your Audible membership now has a special offer of 53% off, making your first 3 months only $6.95 per month. But to access that special price, you have to go to audible.com/Mariana or text Mariana to 500. That's more than half off the regular price. And with your Audible membership, you can get 3 titles every single month, 1 audiobook of your choice, and 2 exclusive Audible originals you cannot hear anywhere else. Also, you can listen to your audiobooks on any device, everywhere with your Audible app, making it easy to continue learning new things while you're working out, commuting, or doing chores. If you don't like an audiobook, you can always exchange it, and if you decide to cancel your Audible subscription, that's not a problem because you keep your audiobook library forever. To get all of this great stuff before the beginning of the year and start learning while listening, visit audible.com/Mariana or text Mariana to 500. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you next week. Bye guys!